This video is for new health workers coming to work in Saudi Arabia for the first time. So if you're one of them, congratulations. I'd already done 2 videos in which I gave tips on what to know before coming to Saudi Arabia. But this particular video is both different and important because in today's video, I share with you 8 very important things to know and do when coming to Saudi Arabia as a health worker for the first time. In this video, I share with you tips that will help you to prepare while coming in and help you also to adjust during the first few months, as this might be difficult for most people that come here. It includes what to bring while coming and what to do immediately you enter the country. So let's just start today's video. The first point is that for doctors, understand that nurses are included in this too. But usually doctors are the ones that can bring their family members here, unlike nurses and other health workers. I had explained this in details in a video of mine. The link is in the description box where you can watch it. For doctors with a family, if you can, first come alone before you bring your family members in. That's after you've settled down a bit, because the first few months are usually very difficult and it will be easier for you to cope alone than to bring your family, and everybody is going through similar challenges. So it's wiser for you to come and acclimatize, and by the time your family members come to join you, it will be easier for them to settle down. Especially if you have kids, you can be able to pull it off if you're just husband and wife. But when the children are involved, your children cannot manage. I did that too. I came in and 3 months later, I was able to bring my family. Some have been able to do it earlier, whereas for others, it took them a bit longer time to be able to bring their family members in. If you can, I would suggest, especially if you have kids, try to come first, settle down, understand the environment and everything before you bring your family in, which will be easier for them. Then the second point is that for your flight, it's an international flight being booked by the ministry to bring you over from your country. You are allowed to carry 2 luggages and 1 hand luggage, and each of those main luggages should be a maximum of 23 kg, and the hand luggage should be around 10 kilograms or so. I'm not sure, but the thing is that try to maximize those luggages. I would really advise you, especially for those coming from Africa and Nigerians, bring food. Don't bring food like rice and the rest. There's rice here. Your local food, especially if you enjoy local food, try to bring them. If you can, bring palm oil to go a long way for you, because palm oil is very scarce here. If you can, don't bring clothes. You wouldn't need them as much as you think you do. Bring in your official uniforms, your scrubs, your work coats, and the rest. You can bring them. But all those social clothes, you wouldn't really need them to go out. So you just bring in the casual wears that you need indoors, and maybe 2 or 3 clothes that you will need to go out. Over time, you will be able to buy some of these clothes over here. So you don't need to stuff yourself with plenty clothes, and you wouldn't carry the important things, which is food. I'm telling you this, understand it. For the Indians, Pakistanis, and many that are in Asia, it's easy to get your food here. Unlike Africans, there are no African restaurants here. So it will be difficult, especially for people that enjoy African food, to be able to cope with that. Other things that you must carry include your certificates. You need your credentials because it will be needed, especially when you need to sign your contract over here. Bring in your certificates, bring in relevant books. You could also bring in, especially if you're not a Muslim, you could come with your religious book for personal use only. So you can come with your Bible or any other book for personal consumption alone. It's allowed here. Don't carry unnecessary stuffs. Carry food. I told you that one. Carry the ingredients, soup ingredients, dried fish, and the rest. I've told you. Then the third point is that bring in as much money as you can possibly. The more money you're able to gather and bring here, it will be easier for you to cope within the first few weeks or months before you get paid. This is very essential. try and change this money to dollars or reals, Saudi Arabian reals, because there are some other Middle Eastern countries that use reals. So Saudi Arabian reals, please, before coming into the country, because it will be difficult for you to change any other currency while in the country. It's easier for you to change dollars, and reals is just a walkover. When you come in, move to retrieve your load at where the baggages are usually dropped, especially if you're leaving Riyadh or Jeddah to another region in Saudi Arabia. That's where you go to retrieve your luggages and then move to take your next flight, because unlike the previous flights that these things are shifted automatically, here you have to retrieve them and then move. There are usually banks at the international airport, because the international flights enter Saudi Arabia either via on the international airport at Riyadh or Jeddah. At those two airports, you see some banks and you could just walk in and exchange your money. Just give them the dollar and they give you the reals equivalent, which is going to help you. Please bring as much money as you can and change it to dollars before you travel. And when you come over, you change it in the bank at the airport. As soon as you're dropping at the airport, look for a bank and change it before you move to your next destination, especially if the region you're being posted to is in neither of these places. It means you have another flight to take. So make sure that within the time in between your landing and your next flight, you do this as quickly as possible. Then another thing to add while at the airport as you land in Saudi Arabia is that after you've changed the currency, you go to any of the mobile network providers and buy a SIM card. It's usually not expensive. It will be registered with your border number. Buy the SIM card and activate it immediately. It will come in handy for you, because first you use it to communicate with people within the country, and then secondly, you also need it to be able to register your Iqama. We're going to talk about that further down the video. Another thing is that in case you're posted to a rural area, you wouldn't be able to buy the SIM card. So buy it at the airport, so that wherever you find yourself, you don't need to struggle to look for a SIM card to buy towards that time, because getting a Saudi SIM card is very important for you to settle in. It should be the first thing you buy while you're here. So as soon as you change your money to Saudi Arabian reals, the next place you should go to at that same international airport is you get the SIM card and activate it ASAP. I would really advise you that you check your tickets and see the time duration. The longer time you have, the more time you have to do all these things. The shorter time you have in between your flights, that means you have to work, as we used to say in Nigeria, sharp to make sure you do all these things. In summary, while at the international airport, first, change your dollars to Saudi Arabian reals, get a SIM card, retrieve your luggages. That's it. Then the next point is that once you reach your final destination, that's the airport in your region, you locate the airport clinic there. Every airport has a clinic. So you locate the airport clinic there, meet the health worker there, and introduce yourself as a new health worker that is just coming in. They would ask for your appointment letter, and from there, in the region you're being posted to is being stated. They know these people, so they will call them to come and pick you up. And that ties us directly to our next point, which is, if you can, try as much as possible to avoid coming during the weekends. I'm telling you this from experience, because here weekends are Fridays and Saturdays. So if you can, come in between Sunday and Thursday, because usually people are off work. So it might take a longer time for your people to come and carry you to your place eventually. By weekdays, everybody is around, so it's easier to pick you, especially during the official working hours. It's easier for them to come and carry you from the airport and drop you at your temporary accommodation. Usually, you have a temporary accommodation before you arrange for your permanent accommodation. And it's due to many factors. It might be that the place you are initially kept might not be the main hospital you'll be posted to, so you'll be kept there temporarily before you're moved to your permanent place of work. Another thing is that you might be placed in a facility, but by the time you settle down, you want to go to a place of your own choice, especially if you don't have accommodation in the hospital that you're working at. So you have to manage this temporary accommodation. Some hospitals can arrange that free of charge. Other times again, they don't really have the facilities, so they might keep you at a hotel or so. Sometimes they pay, or some other regions you would have to pay. It depends. Try to understand it. Ask them whether it's free or not, especially if you are kept somewhere that looks very, very comfortable. Try to ask around. Please ask around. It's very important. For the temporary accommodations, you have to be moved so that other new people will be able to stay at that place. Eventually, you can arrange for a more suitable place. You see, with this, you understand why I had suggested that if you can, you should come alone first, because the temporary accommodations can be quite inconvenient, especially if you're bringing your family in. So you can easily go through the stress, and then as you've gotten somewhere more comfortable, you can bring them in. And the next point, which is very important, is that try as much as possible to connect with people from your place. So if it's possible, try and get the numbers of people here in Saudi before you move, so that you can keep in touch. And by the time you come in, it will be easier for you to connect with them. If you can, please do so. Don't just come blindly, and then when you come over here, you might be somewhere that your people are not around. It might be difficult for you to reach out to them, and they will help your settling down to be easier than you would have been able to pull off on your own. Then the last but not the least is that eventually you'll be carried to the ministry in your region, as the Ministry of Health in your region, to go and sign your contract. As soon as you do so, please, the most important person to locate as a new person is your HR rep, human resources rep. Get the person's number, because you need that person for a lot of things. You need the person for your IKAMA. That's the next step. You have to get an IKAMA. An IKAMA is your residence permit. And after you've got your IKAMA, the next thing is that the HR will guide you to where you're going to get your app share. Your app share is like a formal immigration registration. And with your app share, it's easier for you to now open a bank account. But before you open the bank account, you need to get a letter from your ministry introducing you to the bank as an employee of the ministry. If you happen to get a job with a private hospital, they will do the same thing too, but you need to get the IKAMA and the app share before you open a bank account. How early you open your bank account determines how early you're being paid too. So as soon as you can, you have to get your IKAMA and then get your app share. Ask your HR. Your HR will guide you. There are no universal process or protocols towards this, because regions are quite peculiar. That's why it's easier that when you come, you connect with people that will be able to connect you with people in your region, and they'll be able to guide you properly when it comes to that. That's all for the video about what you need to do as you're entering Saudi Arabia as a health worker. I hope this video is very helpful. There are much more info, but understand that these infos will come as you connect with people. When you come in, there will be much more detailed stuff that will be pushed through, but this gives you a general idea before you learn. It's very essential. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please give this video a thumbs up. That's how you support me and my channel. And if you have any question that I really didn't cover here, you could let me know in the comment section below. If you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe and turn on the bell notification, especially if you enjoy this content that I make. Don't forget to share this with as many people that intend to come here too. Thank you, and I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.